Hello and welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. My name is Chris Au and I will be your host for today's show. This show is going to be so exciting. I'm so happy to have this amazing guest with me today. I'll be interviewing the co-founder of the Fearless Artist Mastermind, Michelle Lynne. We will discuss what it means to have a growth mindset. We will discuss what it means to have a portfolio career as a musician, what that even is. We will also discuss various aspects of a musician's life, a freelance musician, and what they worry about. What are the things that are most troubling and concerning? And of course, Michelle will be presenting solutions and ways to manage this. And all of this is to serve you musicians and young performers out there and giving you valuable insights into this music world out there. And this is because it's our passion to be connecting musicians and audiences in real-time live musical performances and programs from around the globe. Hello and welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. It's my pleasure to be hosting today's show. We have an incredible season coming up. 2023, 2024, we have 4 different Carnegie Hall Gala events. We have 4 different orchestras from around the world for you to perform with as a soloist. We also welcome composers, vocalists, we welcome ensembles, duos, trios, anything that you can come up with, and different musical backgrounds as well and genres. Anything you can come up with, we invite for you to be on the world stage. We have this incredible hybrid model where we have live auditions online on the virtual stage where you can perform for people all over the world. And then we give you in-person prestigious venues to perform in so you can feel heard not only online but also in person. I have such a privilege today to interview to the Sound Espressivo stage Michelle Lynne. But first, let's take a look at what we have in store for this coming season. Wow, so this coming season, there's so much to look forward to. And we are just in October of this season, and we are going all the way to July 2024. And this is just a little tip of the iceberg of what we have in plan. We are doing a show every single day at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, not only to promote what we're doing, but also to give you valuable insights into the music world out there. We are interviewing guest artists, musicians, judges, music promoters, and all different parts of what the music world consists of in this industry, which is confusing at times, concerning at times, and also difficult for everyone to manage. And today I have the incredible privilege of introducing to the virtual stage Michelle Lynne. Michelle, it's a pleasure to have you, and I'm so happy that you're joining us. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris. It's great to be back.
Thank you for being here. I want to introduce you to everybody, and not that you haven't been on our stage before, but it's always a pleasure for me to look at what you're doing. And we've known each other since 2020, and it's just a pleasure to read the updates in your bio and the things you're up to. You're performing all around the world as a pianist and singer, and you delight in speaking at events and teaching classes of entrepreneurship at the Conservatorium Maastricht and Codarts at Rotterdam, and performing programs in partnership with Candlelight Concerts, which again, congratulations on that. You recently had a debut album with original songs which you've paired with impressionist piano repertoire and it was released early this year. That's so cool. On top of that, one of the main key reasons we have you on the show is because you're the co-founder of the Fearless Artist Mastermind, which coaches musicians to reach their full potential and become courageous at each step of their musical journey. You're also artistic director of the Opus 16 Concerten, and you're a graduate of the University of Montreal, where I also went. You're Canadian, you're from the Netherlands. It's awesome. Congratulations on everything you've done so far. I think this year has been really fruitful for you.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, you helped me a lot with this. We, as you said, met in 2020, and that was definitely a wilderness season of my life. And you greatly encouraged me just as a friend and said, there is a harvest that's coming and to enjoy that wilderness season where it seems like nothing's happening. And I think that ties in with our conversation today, that the freelance life, it ebbs and flows. And sometimes you put in a lot of work and there's no result. And so for me, the last year has kind of been a result of many years of sowing where there was no visible result happening. So now it seems like everything is exploded and it's awesome and it's exciting and I'm so grateful. But I very much remember those years where I was doing the work and nothing was happening.
Do you feel like you've, to use the same sort of symbology, do you feel like you've reached the promised land, or do you feel like there's still periods of wilderness? And what's that like now that you're teaching in university as a lecturer, you're performing with candlelight concert, which you're bringing in money, you're able to have a sort of career going forward. Do you still feel like you're in the wilderness, or is it different now?
Yeah, the season has definitely shifted. I feel like I'm in this new world where I get to explore and see all of these amazing possibilities that are made possible by things like my level of experience, my network, the connections that I've made, the friends that I've made, our Instagram community as well. And it's like, wow, what do I get to do now that I'm on this new level? And it's so exciting to see the opportunities and the possibilities. And I think that's a big part of my drive too. I think every freelancer has that drive. It's what keeps us going. And when you can see that there's like an opportunity or a possibility, it lights you up inside. It's very exciting. And I have some wonderful colleagues that are extremely inspiring. So it just keeps pushing me to go bigger.
I have a question for you that before we launch into the topic for today, I'm very curious to know whether during the wilderness, during this time where you're struggling, there are challenges, what are some things that you've done to sort of give yourself some peace, some direction, or at least ways to deal with each grueling hour of the wilderness?
Yeah. Oh man. I mean,
We're
if there
getting
was
dark. We're getting deep
no,
very quickly.
no. But it's just like, I can slap out the formulaic answer, but that's not really what the answer is either. There's a combination of choices that I think one can make when in a wilderness season. I think one of the important things is if you don't have answers, then you need people. I think you need people at any season of your life, but particularly people that can support you, guide you, comfort you, point you back to truth over and over again when it feels like you're in the middle of the clouds. You can't see the way forward. You have no idea, up from down, but they're like, no, this is steadfast. This is truth. This is what you can build on. And then you can trust the people that are in your inner circle. I think something else I did was I simplified everything. I think as an entrepreneur mindset, we just think in all of these huge dreams, these big things, and then you can fall into comparison mode very easily. And I just stripped everything down to the most simple form. Like basic example, like I stopped cooking recipes. I just ate like the same thing every day. Or like even wardrobe wise, you pick the same clothes every day just because you're trying to save energy anywhere you can so you can put it towards what you actually need to. You had told me embrace the solitude, embrace the silence. Journaling helped me a lot, getting deep. And honestly, that's where my album songs came out of, was that wilderness season. I just sat at the piano and like expressed myself however it came out. Like, of course, I have a classical training, but I've got this kind of pop combination and just embrace that. I didn't put rules on it. I didn't say, no, you're a classical pianist. It has to be this box. I was just like, this is the only way that I know how to get out of this right now. So
do you feel like as you're exploring this, getting outside the box, we've trained classical pianists and went to music school. We went to do competitions, and as you're growing outside the box, and this may tie into sort of the portfolio career or that sort of thing, which we'll explain as well to our audience. Do you feel like the judgment about being in a box or being outside the box does that usually come from the audience? Or do you feel like that's a sort of our own musician to musician fear or judgment?
That's such a good question. You know what? It is the fear of judgment that keeps people in boxes because you don't want people to judge you. And
Yeah.
if there was judgment about me leaving the box, I never heard it. No one has ever said to me, "You're a cop out, you're a sellout, you're a fake." All of those things that I thought the real pianists are going to be thinking about me. If they do think that, they had the grace to not tell me to my face. And the response that I've had from people who have
Uh-huh.
appreciated me stepping outside of the box has been so overwhelming that it's like just you can't help but run your race when there are people cheering for you. I
Mm.
mean, it was like overwhelming the amount of support that I've had with this. So I would just say to any artist who's worried about what people might think, like it might be one person out of 10 who would have that kind of critical label for you.
Mm.
And they are really not the person that you're trying to reach with your message, your life, your purpose. Like for you to focus on that one out of the 10 is just a detriment to your gifting and to what you've been called to give. So I would just, encourage. And the story I just have to share, like there's one pianist, I think we all have that person on our Instagram that we're like, oh no, like I do not want that person to see me or hear me. I think we can all
Why are
think
they
of the name,
following me? Yeah.
right? Exactly. Like, don't
No,
look,
don't
don't
follow me.
listen.
Yeah.
And so I had this one girl, she's a fabulous pianist. I admire her so much. She's doing great things. And I thought, oh man, this girl. And then one day came and she commented the nicest, encouraging comment on my post. And I thought, Michelle, you have been telling yourself a story that is a
Mm.
lie, and you have limited yourself because of something that's not even true. It's not even on this person. She wasn't going to act like that towards you. You just thought she was because you have put her in this pedestal. And
Yeah.
now look, here's the evidence. She's actually super kind and supportive. So imagine how many people out there who are resisting putting themselves out there because of what so and so might say. So and so isn't even thinking about that. They're worried about what they're going to have for breakfast.
Yeah.
And here we
Yeah.
are thinking that everyone's worried about what we're doing. So that was a big lesson for me.
I think to your point, and also to what I see you put out, and I think this comes to the fundamental principles that I also believe in, which is we're in the arts because we want to share stories, we want to share meaning, we want to share something that moves, and to touch people and to give an experience where people might become inspired after. And these are kind of core values of why we're in the arts to begin with. Not to so as to get famous, get rich, get recognition, get validation. These are all nice things to have, which may come as a byproduct of doing what we do. And so when you're putting yourself out there, and perhaps this ties in with the growth mindset as well, like what will keep you growing, whether it's an Instagram following or just an audience or your sort of vision of what you want to do. I always come back to fundamental principles where, okay, what am I trying to share here? Like, is it something of meaning? Am I trying to tell people a story that is inspiring? Am I trying to take people along the route of all the great composers and people I love and showing that there's art's out there? And so what are your thoughts on that, and how does that tie into what you're doing and putting out there as a influencer, so to speak?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Creating authentic content from that place of artistry. Like, who are we? What is the message that
Yeah.
we have to share? And who are we trying to serve? And when we can get clear on these things, then all the noise kind of can dissipate because you're so laser focused on who are the people that you're trying to reach. And that makes it way easier to keep going. It also makes it way easier to post when you know that there are people out there who want to see and hear you. Then it's very easy to forget about the ones who may not be interested, like the 30-30-30 rule. I've explained this before on my Instagram, I'm sure you've seen, but 30% of people will love you, 30% won't like you, 30% are indifferent to you. So focus on your 30, focus on the ones who need to hear what you have to say. And so that gets into like, okay, why are we in music? Why are we doing what we're doing? I mean, you said this already. We're inspiring, we're storytelling, we're bringing people to an emotional release that they probably don't have in their 9-to-5s because they're just, doing their thing. And they come to these concerts and they're like, wow, I didn't know that there was beauty like this. I didn't know that there was sounds like this. I've had many people at candlelight concerts say, thank you so much. That was my first piano concert ever. And I loved it. I'm like, wow, that is an honor. And how much more do we talk about like spreading classical music and classical music is dying and all this stuff. It's like, well, actually, we're bringing in new audiences and introducing them to the concept of a piano recital. And if you want to bring new audiences into the opera, the theater, the ballet, then you need to have a bridge for people to have this kind of easy, accessible concert where it's a little bit more open so that they know what it's all about. We got to introduce them to our world.
Yeah, I really like that. This is so tied into what you do, and that's why I want to start with that because I just want to appreciate you and celebrate what you're doing, but also look into what's the behind the scenes of that. There's the usually people talk a lot about the face of the Instagrammer and then the person being, and then there's also this lot of behind the scenes. And perhaps we can start
Yeah.
by talking about the portfolio career, which is something that's quite behind the scenes of what you do. And you're a co-founder of an organization which helps in, coaches, musicians, and I've heard amazing things about it as well. What is what is a portfolio career and what does that
Yeah.
entail for you?
The basic idea of a portfolio career is that your income is going to be diversified. And so the key turning point for me was when I heard a mentor of mine recommend to have 5 income streams. And I was like, whoa,
Wow.
like I never even thought about 5 income streams. What would that even mean? I was like, okay, I play the piano. I play the piano and I teach piano. Okay, that's 2. It's like, how am I going to do this? So
Yeah.
just the idea kind of started your brain going into like how you can bring in some other streams. And this was before COVID even. So then of course COVID comes in and wipes out your, say you only have 1 income stream, your concerts. Then what? Right? Like, I mean, we all had to face that. So by having multiple streams of income, diversifying, that's the idea of a portfolio. It's diverse. You invest in different stocks. That's where the term comes from. Then you're basically setting yourself up to be a bit more stable. Your table has 4 legs. And you'll get to discover other strengths and skills that you have that you could use in combination with your artistry. And then we can talk about things like monetizing your online platforms is going to be an income stream. So then you're going to want to break down your calendar and make sure you're allotting enough time to develop that income stream because you're now starting to realize it's an important part of your portfolio.
Yeah.
And then concerts, of course, teaching students, if that's one of the ones, or like accompanying, if you want to be an opera coach, whatever it is. For me, this whole coaching, speaking career has opened up. So that's one of my income streams. And then you can just schedule yourself accordingly to make sure that you're giving adequate time and energy to all of these different ones.
Yeah. I think it's a good to know that there's an actual name to describe this because a lot of freelancers are already kind of doing this and
Yeah,
realizing the
they
importance
are.
of it.
Yeah.
I am, newer to this than perhaps you are, and I find myself, doing a lot of different things, and I'm planning concerts in the future. I want to try what it means to be sort of like you and an artistic director. I want to try doing admin things and developing an audience and maybe fundraising in the future. Sometimes I wake up and I feel like I'm spread a bit too thin. I'm feel like I'm catching up. I'm really behind. I'm always behind. Like it's 2 p.m. and I'm haven't done the 5 tasks that I need to do in order to feed these different income streams. And do you ever feel spread too thin, or do you feel sort of like you're still always catching up to what's ahead?
Yeah. I mean, it's this eternal concept of like, when is enough enough? And
Yeah.
what is success and when are you going to get there? And spread too thin, yes, definitely. So I had to make some changes. One choice included hiring a personal assistant, as well as now an additional member of, I'm calling them members of my team. They're actually students at the university where I teach. And she's handling some of my social media DMs. My personal assistant's creating content for me, booking hotels, travel, those kind of things, because I realized like I cannot do it all. I tried to do it all. I did it badly. And then you start to get really nice, concerned people in your life being like, you need help and you need to do something differently. And I'm like, yeah, please tell me what to let go of because everything in my life is really important and I don't know which ball to drop. So I think it's like a constant juggle of trying to determine where should I put in my energy. Something that really helps is the 80-20 principle. So
Hmm.
20% of your energy yields 80% of results. So we always want to go for like that 100%, but we have to recognize like I don't have that 20% room if I want to do so many different things. I can't give 100%, so I'm going to give the 20, yield the 80, and then keep going to the next thing that I'm responsible for.
That's very inspiring. Yeah, I like that. The fact that
I mean,
you've reached
say,
out
like,
for help, recognize
I
that you need a personal assistant.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, 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 and also, I've gotten a lot of coaching around this because I just didn't know how to
Mm.
organize my day, and it sounds very elementary, but it's just basic things, like, if I have to, practice and teach and do my admin and my emails and then create content and then answer the content, the Instagram engagement, and I want to work out too, and maybe get outside with my dog, and and then the dishes and the house is a mess, and you're just like, everything's jumbled. And I think that's one of the things about being a freelancer is that our schedules are not set by the rhythms of going to a regular 9 to 5. So that can become very dangerous when you're like at 2 p.m. like, oh yeah, I need to be practicing, but somehow you're like cooking in the kitchen, like, because we're also at home.
Yeah.
Or, so like, then you have to kind of create these zones in your home. My office is upstairs. I go to work upstairs. My piano is here. Like, this is my music studio. And then I've got different ways that I can kind of set time blocking saved my life. It's just like 1 hour, no distractions. I created a workshop that we're giving tonight, the Fearless Artist. It's actually about how to create authentic content. And so like 45 minutes, I'm only doing this. I'm not touching my phone. I'm not doing other stuff, like learning these kind of discipline things.
Wow.
But the fear is that, for me at least, I feel like I'm being irresponsible if I don't answer people back immediately. You feel bad. You feel like you might miss something.
Yeah.
These kind of irrational worries that kind of suck away time and energy. So I'm really going after this in my life, because I recognize for me to get to the next level, I need to let go of a lot that I'm worried about here. So I'm learning how to delegate. I'm learning how to let go and say, what am I really good at? Because I got to get there.
I think this is awesome that you're doing that, and it's very inspiring to hear. Do you feel like you're starting to model your life after sort of entrepreneurs who, are managing businesses of a much bigger scale and have to be really intentional about their time, right? Like, I think after school, everything's loose. And I was talking to a friend about this. Like, you could wake up tomorrow and not practice, and no one's going to hound you over it. You could take a day off and not do anything, and again, nothing's going to really happen.
Yeah.
And yet we want so much to happen. And so perhaps you're starting this sort of time blocking, organizing, and I like to call it sort of the organization of chaos. We have so much chaos going on. I don't mean that in a negative sense, but there's so much brilliance within the chaos too.
Yeah.
How do you find yourself, what's that organization been like, and how does it feel to be more disciplined and intentional about the time that you spend?
It goes against everything in me, like
Right?
I want to do everything. I want to do it all chaos. Yeah, exactly. Like, give me my phone while I'm on the treadmill and I'm planning something with someone else, like, let me do it all at once. And then I'm going to check this and I'm going to answer this person. And I've had to learn the hard way that it's not sustainable if you want to go at a higher level and if you want to be able to be responsible for more things. So for example, I just invested in a graphic designer for my concert series. I've been doing it all myself on Canva. Can I do it? Yes. Did it look good enough? Yes, it looked good enough. But you know what? I actually do not want to be sitting behind my computer, like dragging fonts around when it's not my skill. So I'm learning to focus on my strengths. And that means risk. That means investment. Like, I'm paying an assistant every month. Like, that's a financial risk, but I'm seeing that I can then stay in my lane and accomplish more in my strengths and actually do the things that light me up inside, like teaching my entrepreneurship classes, because I've got the energy to be able to do that rather than being like dragged down by these other tasks that, yes, I can do them. And I've had to do them for the last 10 years. But again, if you want to scale, and that's, I think, what you're saying about the entrepreneurs, that they've learned how to hand things off so that they can kind of keep rising in what they're good at, which is being a visionary and having the ideas and then finding ways to execute those ideas without that draining you.
I love it. This is so inspiring. No,
it's
really,
like
it really is to
daily
see.
struggle. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
What do I start with? How much time do I spend? Should I, so in terms of, I think one of the most important things is developing a rhythm. And as creatives, I think a strict, 9, 10, 11 a.m. schedule maybe doesn't work for us, but the ebb and flow, so it's like, okay, first I'm going to sit down and touch my piano. Then I'm going to go to the gym or whatever it is, like whatever order you pick, just that there's some kind of habitual system that the body gets used to, because then that eliminates the decision-making process, which takes a lot of energy. That's what we have to really get rid of. And I struggled a lot with that today even. So, I'm still learning, but it's concepts that I'm trying to implement daily so that I can continue what I'm doing.
I have just a funny question. Would you prefer, if you had a coach, mentor, someone who knew you extremely well and had a good plan for you, and you've discussed this plan with them and they know and you're on the same page, how would you feel if they just dictated your schedule from the moment you wake up to the hour you sleep every day, for the next kind of 3 months. And of course they'll, because I have this idea that like, what if someone just knew how to push me to the best of my ability and just set the schedule for me? Yeah.
I think that's what that AI new tool Motion is supposed to do, right? Like you feed it everything that you have on your to-do list and then it organizes the order for you based on, I think I'm too rebellious for that. I would fight
I
back
know. That's my struggle too. Even when I set my own schedule, I'm like, no, I want to do a bit more. I don't want to stop at 12:30. I don't want to start at 1 again. I want to have a longer lunch. I want to watch this video too. So yeah, tell me about that. And
exactly. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You just said it. I also want a longer lunch. No, I'm walking my dog and I want to go down this field. Like there's no boss calling you back to your piano. And that's also the problem. So it's like grace combined with grit. And it's like, how much do you push and how much do you, even yesterday I had a day off and I'm like, I have so many things to do. What do I do? So I don't know. It's this constant thing of trying to prioritize and hope that you're doing the right thing and trying not to worry too much. And then looking for the fruit and saying, okay, what am I actually coming back to, like our metaphors? What am I growing? And is it part of my purpose? And how can I continue in that stream? Yeah. I wish I had the answers.
I'd like to ask on your, like, if you look back on the last 2 weeks or a month, and you can picture maybe like there's 1 or 2 days which are like the best days. Like you're either extremely inspired, fired up, whatever it is. Like they're categorically the best days. What does that look like for you? If you don't mind sharing.
I know exactly what it was because I thought to myself, this is my ideal life. I woke up and I went to teach entrepreneurship all day. I worked with these students for, I don't know, 4 hours. And then I got in my car and I drove and I performed for 600 people. And I was like, this is the best day. I'm teaching entrepreneurship by day and performing by night. And I'm having the time of my life. And I'm so happy. And I get to wear a beautiful dress, which is just a bonus. And it was just, I didn't have to cook. Like I had sushi and it was just like an awesome day,
Yeah. And is that sustainable? Like, is that sort of this kind of day you want to be living every day? How does, and yeah, I'm really just curious about how we manage our expectations on what feels like we've made it or what feels like, oh, this is the life I want to live. And because not every day can look like that. Some days you have to do your taxes. Some days you have to do this and administrative work. And yet, how do we manage this as a chaos organizer?
Yes. Some days we talk about this at TFA. Some days are glory days. Some days are grit days. So there's the performing days where I have to teach the classes and perform. And then there's the days that I need to prep the performance and prep the classes. So you need to have that ebb and flow, that equal balance of like the preparation days. There's some days where I'm like in my tights and oversized sweater all day at home. And I'm so happy that I don't have to see anybody. And like my face is not going on Instagram that day. So you need that, for every up, there's a down. And I think that's really important for energy management. But to your point of, admin and taxes, or you just outsource that, like there's somebody else does your bookkeeping for you and your accountant handles your taxes. So like there should be a point where we don't have to do anything we don't want to if we're actually entrepreneurs, because then you can hand things off, delegate, hire someone and stick with what you're good at so that you can, I can earn more money coaching than I can cleaning my house. So then I have someone come in and clean the house because I don't want to spend my time doing that when I could be coaching and making an impact and knowing that I went to bed and made a difference that day. So those kind of things get me really excited because it's like, well, how far can you go with that then? Like your whole day could look like how you want it to.
So back to a growth mindset, it's not simply this idea of constant training and that idea of going to the gym and, training and grueling and working out. But a growth mindset can also actually be a bit more big picture where, okay, where can I spend the best of my energy? What can I delegate? What can I learn to just be hands off? And that actually is the growth that can happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Automate, eliminate, delegate. Label everything in your life with those 3 things. What can I automate? So that's what we were talking about earlier, like not making decisions anymore. You pick a schedule for your day and you follow the schedule. Why? Because then you're eliminating that mental noise of like, what do I do next? What do I do next? Then eliminate what are things that you actually don't need to do. I haven't washed my floors in like 3 weeks. Like we keep coming back to the cleaning metaphor, but that's what it is, right? So just some things you're just going to drop the ball and nobody's going to judge you and it's fine. And if a friend comes over unexpectedly, you apologize and say, I'm sorry. I mean, I've been on stage for the last 5 nights and like I didn't have time to care about my house. Fine. Then you delegate. Hi, Aida, I would like a piece of content about how when people are asking me, aren't you lonely when you travel? And then the next day I have this beautiful reel that she posted for me. I mean, I didn't do anything. So there I go, delegating that. So it's like, okay, this is getting easy now. I'm getting a little rhythm to this. And you can see how you can grow that so that you're just like, I'm doing what I'm good at and I'm handing things off.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's a process. I've been
I can
working on this for a
imagine.
long time. I've had like 3 different coaches and every time it's the same thing. They're like, "Michelle, you need to time audit. Where's your time going? Where's your energy going? Why are
Mm.
you doing things that you're not good at? Why are you not getting someone else to do that?" You know? It's like, "'Cause I'm scared and that involves risk and that involves money and I'm not sure I'm willing to put out any of those things." And this is what we're trying to teach our clients at the Fearless Artist, because I think
Mm.
musicians don't learn about the return on investment, that when you pay someone to help you, you're going to reap rewards from that big time, whether it's your time or your energy, that you'll sleep better, which means that you can perform better in doing what you actually want to do and just creating this space for yourself. Return on time. If you ask someone to do something for you, you're going to get that time back that you can use to do something else. So that's, I think, with a growth mindset. A growth mindset is also looking for opportunities and not seeing the problems, but looking for the way. And
Mhm. Mhm.
I think a lot of people, when you present them with a problem, they'll instantly tell you why it won't work, or an idea. I mean, you give an idea and they're like, oh, this and this and this are reasons why it won't work. And there's an element to that where you need to know like what you're up against or like
Yeah.
what are the weaknesses of the idea. But that's a different thing that I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who like refuse to see that there might be a way to find an opening here. And I think that's really what a growth mindset is also about.
Are you careful about who you ask for help and who you ask for advice? And perhaps are you careful with who you share good news with? And these things which are very fragile because these are ideas. When you tell someone an idea that, oh, you need advice, you're in a state of fragility because you want to be built up, but you're also putting your sort of ego in their hands for a little bit. So are you careful with how you manage the people who you speak with about certain things in your life?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. My inner circle got really small just a couple years ago.
Uh-huh.
And in the past, I used to be like sharing everything with everyone. Like good news, like giving my Instagram stories. Everybody, good news,
Yeah. Yeah.
asking for advice. There's that saying like don't ever ask advice from someone that you wouldn't do what they're doing. So
Mm.
watching how people live, looking for the people who are doing something really well, and then success leaves footprints. So how did they get there? What are they doing? And not ask, it's very easy. This comes back to the man in the arena quote, right? So the cheap seats are filled with the people who are throwing down the nasty comments at the person in the arena who's being brave with their life and bleeding. So as performing artists, there's going to be a lot
Yeah.
of nasty, cheap seat voices throwing down stuff at us like, oh, what are you doing for a real job? When are you gonna get the breakthrough? Or when are you gonna get to the bigger venues? Or, oh, there was only 20 people at your last concert. Oh, well, such a shame. I mean, how many times have I heard that? And it's like, I'm sorry. I'm putting myself out there. It's very easy for people to criticize. So then you learn, like, you ask advice from the people who are walking the walk and that you would like to see some of their success in your life and you
Mm.
replicate what they're doing. And then in terms of good news, it's been interesting because when good things do happen, yeah, you don't want the other person to let their fear come on
Mm.
to you. So sometimes I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I got this concert and it's 4 hours away from where I'm teaching and I have to drive, but it's gonna be fine." And they're like, "Can you handle that? Isn't that too much for you? Are you gonna be, you're so tired already and how are you gonna," and I'm like, "Whoa, like I was super excited about this and I think it's a good thing and it's aligned with what I want to do. So I'm gonna find a way." And I need people to give me feedback that are like, "Yes, you can do that. Make sure that you sleep well, take care of yourself, but not to put their fear because they couldn't handle that onto you." I think that was a big lesson.
Yeah, I think I want to talk about this because it's as you're going out of school or people who are graduating or people who are figuring out their careers as a freelancer with a portfolio career and trying to grow, you start to see that you have to choose friends, or you have to choose the people you interact with. At school, perhaps you just hang out with everyone who's around, and you might have your little crew and you go out and everyone's sort of in the safer space of, yeah, we just have our classes, we have our lectures, we have our things, and have a recital at the end of the year, and I might do a competition, and that's pretty kind of equal throughout. There's competition, but it's not in the same sense. But as you're going out and trying to conquer the world, so to speak, and be that man in the arena, I find it's important to, yeah, think about who you surround yourself with.
Definitely. I mean, there's of course the saying that the 5 closest people to you are the who you're going to become.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
who is your inner circle? Who are you taking advice from? Who do you
Mm,
allow to speak into your life? Do they understand that our lives, I tell my students this, we are not like normal people. We do not have the regular jobs. We do not have the salary that comes at the same amount at the end of every month. We have a different life, and that does not mean it's bad or wrong. And people who don't understand us will try to put that on us because they don't get it, but it's not their world and they're not supposed to get it. We are supposed to piece together our careers, find stability in that, and organize chaos, like you said, because we're creatives. I mean, like we're
mm.
building our careers as we go. It's kind of like that picture where you like lay the next brick of the path that you're walking on, and you like lay a brick so you can walk. It's like you're building your own path here,
You
and
really
then
are,
people
yeah.
come in and they're following a path that's been built for them for generations. They're going up the corporate ladder or what have you. They're working in a dental office, and it's just very clear. You show up at 8:30 and this is your task list for the day. We're like, great. Tell me my task list when I'm trying to get students, get concerts, create content, find my people online, develop a sales and marketing system for my coaching program. Like, I mean, it's complicated and we have to figure it out. So not letting people who don't understand speak into your life is a very good piece of advice.
Yeah. Wow. I on it. We've talked a lot already in this. I feel I can talk with you forever. I want to kind of end with this kind of question, which is, what kind of advice would you have for people who are feeling a little directionless? So these people may be just, if we use the analogy of, you're in a boat, you're about to go out into the sea, and you're, trying to get to the new land, the promised land. You're going to go through some wilderness, but you're not sure where to go, what's going on. You feel a little directionless. You might have already set sail, but it's cloudy and it's foggy, and you're not sure which direction to go. And everything seems good. You could go north, you could go east, you could go south, you could go west, and no one's really telling you where to go. You know, and I know you're probably, moved out of this sort of thing. So I was wondering, what kind of advice do you have for people who feel that way, that they're directionless and every direction seems good or possible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a case by case, but if I gave general advice, it would be a quote that has stuck with me for a long time is, you can't steer a parked car. So first of all, you need to be in motion and you need to try as many different things as you can. And you need to apply for the competitions and apply for the music schools and go in the direction of what you feel like what you have been doing. And then as you go, you'll get input, right? People will say yes or no, doors will open, doors will close. And you'll also be able to check yourself. Where's my energy? Am I excited when I wake up? Am I looking forward to this project? Do I like working with these people? Do I is my mind racing with ideas at the end of the day, or am I completely drained? And then I think from the feedback you're getting from the direction you chose, you'll recognize, okay, tried it, didn't work, let's switch. And the thing with a fixed mindset is that we stay in analysis paralysis because you're like, oh my gosh, there's one right answer. And if I mess it up, I'm never going to be able to get back on track. And I need to make the right decision right now. And until I know what that is, I can't move. And because you're not moving, you literally have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
you got to test the waters and see. Like, I don't think if somebody said to me 3 years ago, like, hey, you should build a coaching business, I'd be like, what? That's going to take up so much of my time. I'm a pianist. What
Yeah.
are you talking about?
Mm.
And nobody would be able to explain to me the podcast interviews that have come, getting to meet people like you, the conversations, the relationships, the speaking opportunities, the things that would just make me so happy and thrilled. The 2 university positions. I mean, that came out of absolutely nowhere.
So cool. Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
awesome.
for someone who doesn't have a doctorate degree, that was the moment in my life that I was the most stuck. I think, like, should I do the doctorate or not? And I agonized over it, and I regretted it for like 3 or 4 years, like throwing up these prayers, like, God, please tell me if I need to do this doctorate, because I think I've just cut off my career for the rest of my life. And because I also thought I'd never be able to teach on faculty. And so now having this whole the last 2 years open up for me, it was like, well, that's interesting. Just by pursuing something and kept going with it, and then suddenly these opportunities arise, and that's leading to more opportunities. And so that is so exciting for me. Like I get really, because like, don't let anybody tell you no. Don't let anybody tell you no. Try it. See what happens. Like why would we be our own ceilings? And that's coming back to like getting out of these labels and these boxes. I mean, people tell you this is the box because they want to give you structure and a guideline, and that's fine, but don't let that be the ceiling. It's like, okay, let's make a structure and we'll try it, but then you're allowed to switch, and you're going to discover new things about yourself.
Wow. I really love talking to you so much. I
I
love
get
that.
excited because like you see people start to see what they're capable of doing, and like my students, they're like, wow, nobody ever explained to me that there are so many possibilities for work in music, because they're told two things: soloist or faculty position. Good luck. There's one out of 100 spots. If you don't get it, well, it's because you weren't good enough and you didn't practice hard enough. So go be a dentist or something. Like, no, you can create new things. I mean, there's so many cool opportunities coming up in the music world now, and especially with the digital platforms. I mean, look at your job here working for Sound Espressivo, right? I mean, like, you're doing a great job.
I would have never imagined it. Yeah, I would have never
right?
imagined it.
It's married so perfectly with your art. That's the other lie people believe, is like, oh, if I choose that, then I have to let go of my performing career. No, you don't. They will strengthen each other. They will only add. It enriches you as an artist to be able to talk to other artists and like, look what you're doing for the next generation with this competition. You're bringing next people up with a new mindset. And with my speaking career, like I bring that on stage now. I'm telling stories to the audience. Like, your strengths as an artist will feed each other, and it just makes you unique in the marketplace too, so that people want to work with you.
Yeah. Wow. It's always so inspiring talking to you, not only because we're kind of kindred spirits in many ways, that kind of chaos which we love and thrive in, but also we realize the incredible discipline that needs to be a part of our lives, that also is integral. We have to do this again. I've loved you on the show. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm just going to talk a little bit about our upcoming season, and we'll say a good thank you again to you, and for a goodbye to everyone. So our upcoming season coming up, we have the wonderful Michelle of the Fearless Artist Mastermind, who's offering a wonderful prize. Actually, before I talk about the season, would you like to talk a bit about the prize that you're offering within your coaching? Yeah.
Yes, we are offering a surprise 6 months to our monthly membership called Fast Forward, which is our online community where we come in and set goals over the next 6 months, check in every 2 weeks with each other, talk through difficult things that we're facing, and just create this really thriving community of fearless artists. So the lucky winner gets 6-month membership to Fast Forward.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for that. That's I kind of want to win that now.
We would be thrilled to have you as part of our community. If you showed up, I would be at every call.
That's amazing. So as you can see, our upcoming season is going to be incredible. There's so many things we want to offer all our contestants and prize winners, including Michelle's wonderful prize. And so with that, I want to show also a brief clip about what you would be expecting. Like I said, we have 4 amazing Carnegie Hall gala experiences. We have orchestra performances. There's so much that we have in store, and I can't wait for this coming season to hear everyone and to showcase the art that we have available, not only on our virtual stage, but also on the live stage. If you audition with us, you get to perform, and you get immediate feedback, which is just a wonderful thing that we are offering. Judges like Michelle will be able to give you incredible insights right after you play, which gives so much closure about the performance you just gave. A lot of the time when we're performing music, and most of the time I hope, that we're offering ourselves, our lives, our heart and soul. And it's really wonderful to be able to receive feedback right after you perform, so you know whether you can improve certain parts or whether certain parts are so good that they are celebrated. So we have that to offer, and it's just really, really, really wonderful. I want to show you a brief reel now to tell you a little bit about what there is to expect. Hey, check this out. I know you have always dreamed of performing in Carnegie Hall. So I think this 2023 to 2024 season at Sound Espressivo will be perfect for you. As a platform, we host live online auditions so you can share your music with the entire world. Then we send you to incredible in-person venues like Carnegie Hall so you can perform solo, as a duo, as an ensemble, and with orchestra. This year we have a total of 4 gala events at Carnegie Hall, as well as 4 different opportunities to perform with orchestras in the US, in the Czech Republic, and even in Egypt. We want to help you fulfill your musical dreams. Go to soundespressivocompetition.com to check out our season and to apply. Well, with that, there's no reason not to apply. I want to bring Michelle back in to give her a big hand. We also have this promo code, LynneFriends23, which we'll put up in on the screen very quickly. Yes, there we go. And if you use that, you're able to get 50% off the application fee. We're really proud to have you as part of our organization, and we want to give a big hand to our collaborators, all the people who are behind the scenes, who are organizing incredible opportunities for our musicians. These are great organizations who have been a really loyal part of our supporters. We're just growing that. This is going to be really exciting. We also want to give a big hand to our team, all the people who write scripts and produce our shows, put all this together. We stream every single day at 12 noon, and without this team, it would be impossible to do that. And a big hand to them and everyone who's supporting us this coming season. And with that, like I said, we are on all the social media platforms. We are on at 12 noon every single day. I want to say a big thanks to you again, Michelle. Thank you for being part of our show today, and I look forward to having you back.
I can't wait to talk to you next time. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, see you, everybody. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
No matter where you are or who you are, music connects us all. We started with a dream, but now we are paving the future. Welcome to the Sound Espressivo Global Competition. Fully virtual, yet bringing musicians closer together than ever before, now on a global scale. True live, inclusivity, diversity, connection, community, an extraordinary array of judges. Get noticed by companies all over the world. Prizes, scholarships, performance opportunities. Apply to be a part of the most exciting congregation of artists like nothing you've ever seen before. We guarantee quality and leave no musician behind. We can't wait to hear you on the virtual stage.